Welcome to the 9th video of the 5th section, Looping Over Tracks. In the previous video, we've learned how to manage continuous updates. In this video, we will learn how to loop over tracks. Let's add the feature that allows users to loop over tracks. We've already defined radio buttons to allow 3 choices. In essence, the player should provide a choice from these 3 options. 1. No loop. Play a track and end there. 2. Loop current. Play a single track repeatedly. 3. Loop all, looping through the entire playlist one after another. The decision to follow one of these 3 options needs to be taken immediately after a particular track ends playing. The best place to judge whether a track has come to its end is from within the periodic updates loop that we created earlier. Therefore, modify the manage_periodic_updates_during_play method to add these 2 lines of code. This, in effect, means that the looping decision is checked only when the currently playing track ends. Then, define the not_to_loop method as shown here. The code here first checks the value of the selected radio button and, based on the selected choice, makes the looping choice. 1. If the selected loop value is 1, no loop, it does nothing and returns true, breaking out of the continuous update loop. 2. If the selected loop value is 2, loop over the current song. It again calls the start_play method and returns false. Thus, we do not break out of the update loop. 3. If the loop value is 3, loop all. It calls the play_next_track method and returns true. Thus, we break out of the previous update loop. The audio player can now loop over the playlist based on the looping preference set by the user. Let's conclude this iteration by overriding the close button so that the audio player properly deletes the player object when the user decides to close the player while it is playing. To override the destroy method, first add a protocol override command to the view_init_method using this code. Finally, we define the close_player method as you can see here. This concludes the iteration. We coded the logic required to loop over tracks and then override the close button to ensure that a playing track is stopped before we exit the player. Awesome! We've successfully learned about looping over tracks. In the next video, we'll look how to add a tooltip.